Hello. So in this video, we'll be learning about Rasa. Before diving into it, let's check out what is our today's agenda. So in this video, we'll be looking out what is Rasa. Then we'll learn how to install Rasa and also how to set up the environment. After that, we'll see how to build a basic Rasa bot. And once we are done building the Rasa bot, we'll also have a quick code walkthrough of the assistant that we built. Then we'll also see some mostly used commands that we use on the command line interface to interact or to train the Rasa bot. Rasa is very popular and widely used in the industry since it helps us create custom chatbots over which we can completely have control over the chatbot's behavior, and it also helps us integrate our assistant with other services and systems of our own. Okay, so as I said, Rasa framework has two important components, that is Rasa NLU, that is natural language understanding, and Rasa core. So Rasa NLU is the component which is responsible for understanding and extracting meaning from user messages. Meaning, whatever the user inputs, Rasa NLU is responsible to understand what the user is saying. And if there is any value that needs to be extracted from the user input, then Rasa NLU is responsible to extract that value from the user input. So basically, the task of Rasa NLU is to understand what the user is saying. And on the other hand, Rasa core deals with dialogue management, meaning once the Rasa NLU has understood what the user is saying and once it has extracted the necessary values, then it is the task of Rasa core to perform the next steps. It takes the decision what steps should be performed. You can take an example of a basic conversation of greeting. Suppose a user says, "Hello, who are you?" Then the Rasa NLU is responsible to understand that the user is saying hello and he is asking, "Who are you?" That task is of Rasa NLU to understand what the user is saying. And then after the Rasa NLU has understood what the user is saying, then it is the responsibility of Rasa core to perform the next task. So in our case, if the user is saying, "Hello, who are you?" then the Rasa core will decide to tell the user who it is. Maybe a message saying that I am a basic assistant built on the framework Rasa, something like that. So basically, Rasa NLU is the component responsible for understanding and extracting the meaning from the user message, and the Rasa core deals with the dialogue management, or in simple words, you can say it decides what the bot has to perform next, depending on the user's input or the Rasa NLU output. Okay, so we saw what is Rasa. Now let's see how to build a basic chatbot or assistant using Rasa. To build a basic chatbot or assistant using Rasa, you need to first install Rasa. And in order to install Rasa, you need Python to be installed on your machine. And if you have already installed Python, then you can create a virtual environment. You need to create your virtual environment so that you isolate all the dependencies that the Rasa uses. So first, we'll see how to create a virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, the command that we use is python -m venv dot forward slash, and you can give any name to your virtual environment. I'll give Rasa venv, Rasa virtual environment. Hit enter. So this will create a virtual environment for me in the directory where I'm present right now. So I have created a folder Rasa in which I am creating the virtual environment. As you can see here, my virtual environment is created. Next thing that we need to do is we need to activate the virtual environment. To activate the virtual environment, we use the command dot forward slash your virtual environment name. In our case, it is Rasa venv slash scripts slash activate. Hit enter. So this will activate my virtual environment that I have created. You can see here I've activated my virtual environment. Once you have created a virtual environment and activated it, then we are good to go and install Rasa. Before installing Rasa, we need to check whether our pip is up to grade because we'll be installing Rasa using pip. So before installing Rasa, let's upgrade our pip if it is not up to date, just to verify it. We'll be using the command python -m pip install upgrade pip. So let's just upgrade our pip. So in my case, requirement is already satisfied because I have the latest version of pip. So now I'm good to go and install Rasa. To install Rasa, the command is pip install Rasa. This will basically install the Rasa with basic dependencies. If you want to install Rasa with additional dependencies like Rasa with full dependencies, then you can just use the command Rasa, and inside square brackets you can give the command full. This will install Rasa with all the dependencies. But if you don't want the unnecessary dependencies, then you can just install Rasa, and then additionally, whenever needed, you can install the other dependencies using pip, using the command pip install and whatever dependency you want to install. So let's just install Rasa as of now. So pip install Rasa, hit enter. Okay, so Rasa is installed now. Let me just clear my screen. Okay, so after Rasa is installed, now what we can do is we can create a basic chatbot or assistant. And to do that, we can use the command Rasa init. So this will create a basic structure of a chatbot, which we can later modify according to our use case scenarios. So this is asking me whether I want to create the chatbot in the present directory, that is the current directory, or if I want to create somewhere else, then I can enter the path. Since I want to create in the present directory itself, so I'll just hit enter. Then it is asking me the directory is not empty. Do you want to continue? I'll say yes. It has created some files for me, the basic structure of a Rasa bot. And now it is asking me whether I want to train the model, train the initial model. I'll say yes. Let's just wait for the model to get trained. Okay, so my Rasa model is trained and now it is asking me whether I want to speak to the trained assistant on the command line. I'll say yes. So you can see it is starting Rasa server on this specific port. Okay, so our bot is loaded. Let's just interact with the bot. We'll say hello. Okay, so the bot is replying, hey, how are you? Let's say I am not feeling good. Let's see what the bot says. It's saying great, carry on. Okay, let's say I am sad. So here it is giving me, here it is saying here is something to cheer you up, and there's an image link. You can just open the image and see, did that help you? Yes. Great, carry on. So this was just a basic conversation on the trained model which we built using the Rasa init command. Okay, so let me just close this terminal. So let's have a quick walkthrough of the files that got created using the Rasa init command. So here we have first we have the domain file. So domain file is the most important file in a Rasa chatbot. So in this file, you basically define whatever intents you're going to have, whatever responses you're going to have, if you're going to have any actions or slots, anything you have to define here. Okay, that is the domain file. Here we have few intents that is greet, goodbye, affirm, deny, so on. Here you have some responses, utter greet, utter cheer up, and so on. Okay, basically the domain file will contain all the things that you have in your chatbot that should be defined here in your domain file. Next we have a data folder. Inside our data folder, we have three files. One is NLU, rules, and stories. So first we'll check the NLU file. So NLU file is basically for natural language understanding. Here we have to provide some training data to the chatbot, and depending on this data, the Rasa NLU will understand users' input or extract values. Here there are some examples of the pre-built bot that we had: mood great, mood unhappy. Then you have the intent goodbye, and you have so many examples for this. Then you have the intent greet, and you have many examples for this. So NLU file has the training data. Then we have the stories file, stories.yaml file. Inside a stories.yaml file, we define the stories of how the conversation will go. Just now we had a small conversation with the chatbot in which we said hello, and the bot asked us, hey, how are you? Then we said, I am sad. Then the bot sent us an image link to cheer us up, and it asked us whether it helped, and we said yes. So that all things we need to define in a stories.yaml file. So you can see here example for one story is a happy path. Inside this intent greet was whenever user says hi, hello, hey, or anything. Whenever user says that, then the action that needs to be performed is utter greet. And this utterance we have defined in a domain file. So you can see here utter greet. So whenever user says hi, hello, the bot will utter greet. Hey, how are you? Then the next thing in our story is intent mood greet. So depending on the user's mood, suppose the user says mood great, like I am happy, or I am fine. Then the next action that should be performed is utter happy. You can see here utter happy utterance. So great, carry on. That was one story. Then we have a sad path. Sad path in the sense whenever the user says hello, the bot will ask, hey, how are you? Then if the user says, I am not sad, I am sad or I am unhappy, that is mood unhappy, then the action that will be performed is utter cheer up. So utter cheer up, here you can see here is something to cheer you up and an image link. Then after that, the bot will ask, did that help? Utter did that help? So utter did that help is did that help? So once the user says yes, affirm yes, then the action that is utter happy. Then similarly, you have sad path 2. This thing also is similar to this. Just if the user denies that it didn't help him, then the action will be utter goodbye. So you can define n number of stories depending on the conversation, depending on how the conversation flow might go. You can design your stories here in your stories.yaml file. Then next we have our rules.yaml file. Inside our rules.yaml file, we define specific rules that the bot needs to perform no matter what. So whenever here we have a rule to say goodbye anytime the user says goodbye. So you during the conversation, any time in the conversation, if the user says goodbye, then the next action that needs to be performed is utter goodbye. The bot cannot perform any other option rather than utter goodbye whenever the intent is goodbye. Similarly, here intent bot challenge. Intent bot challenge you can see in your NLU. Let's see what is intent bot challenge. Let's go down. Yeah. So our intent bot challenge is, are you a bot? Are you a human? Well, so whenever a user asks any of these things, then the next thing that need to be performed is here, utter I am a bot. So these are the rules that needs to be performed. Now you might be in a confusion that stories, what is the difference between stories and rules file? So basically, stories can be many stories can follow similar paths, but rules cannot be contradicting. And rules have greater priority than stories. Okay. So if you have a rule saying intent goodbye and action utter goodbye, then the bot will perform utter goodbye whenever intent goodbye is triggered. But in case of stories, that is not the case. Here you can see utter greet. Even here you can see utter greet. Depending on the user's input, the conversation flow will change in your stories file. But when you define rules, the conversation won't change depending on the user's input. The conversation will go according to the rules that you have defined. And rules have greater priority than the stories. Okay, so that was our data folder. Then we have our config file. So in our config file, basically we have all the configurations for our chatbot. Here you can see the language that we are using, that is EN is the code for English. Then here you have pipeline. In pipeline section, you can use these many pipelines. You can just uncomment these. If you want to add additional, you can then add your additional pipelines into this per section. Then you have policies. You can uncomment these policies and use these policies in your bot. If you want to add more policies, then you can add under this section. As I said, you can define rules and you can define stories. So whenever you're defining some rule, you need to use the rule policy here. If you're using the rules, then you need to uncomment this rule policy. Then you can even use the memorization policy. Each policy is needed for some different actions. Okay. So that is our config file. Then we have the credentials file. In the credentials file, we provide the credentials to connect a chatbot to our external system or any other channel. Okay. So here you can provide the credentials to connect your Rasa chatbot to Facebook, Slack, Socket.io, and many more. Then this is the URL you can use to make API calls to your Rasa chatbot. If you want to connect your Rasa bot to your web chat, then you can use the REST channel. If you're using the REST channel, then you just need to uncomment this. You don't need to provide any extra credentials. You can directly use the REST channel. Okay, that is the credentials.yaml file. Then we have our endpoints.yaml file. So in this, we define all the endpoints that we want to use. Like we can use the tracker store endpoint we can provide here. Then we can even use the event broker. Then we have models. If you're using some external models, then you can provide the endpoint URL here for that model. Mainly, we use this endpoints file to connect to our action server. This is one of the basic things that we need. That is our action endpoint. What is action endpoint? We'll see that also. So if you want to use the actions endpoint, then you need to uncomment this, and your action endpoint should be running on this specific URL, or else on whichever URL your action endpoint is running, you need to specify that URL here with a suffix webhook. Okay. So as I was talking about actions, let's check the actions folder. In our actions folder, we have our actions.py file. Action.py file is basically if you want to perform some custom actions apart from uh, just a utterance or just displaying a message. If you want to perform some other actions like connecting to a database or making an API call or extracting slots and performing some actions on that and performing some logic and then returning the value to the chatbot like in the conversation, then you use the custom actions. And whenever you're using the actions, you need to specify the actions here in your actions.py file, and then you need to run the action server separately on a separate terminal, and that terminal on whichever URL your action server is running, that URL you need to provide in your endpoints.yaml file here in your action endpoint. Okay, so that was the overview of all the files that you have in your Rasa framework. Okay, so now let's see what are the most used basic commands for to interact with the Rasa chatbot. Let me just open a new terminal. Okay, so here my terminal is open. I'll just clear the screen. Okay, so the first command that we used was to create a Rasa chatbot, that was Rasa init. So this command will create a Rasa chatbot. Now, after creating a Rasa chatbot, and once you make few changes to your Rasa chatbot, next thing that you need to do is you need to train your model before interacting with it. So to train your model, you use the command Rasa train. Okay. So this will train your model. So let's just wait till a model gets trained. Once a model is trained, that model will be saved under a models folder. Since we trained one initial model while we were creating the chatbot, that model is saved here. And this model that we trained just now is here. So anytime if you want to roll back to whichever previous models you have trained, you can access it from your models folder. Okay. So our model is trained. Let me just clear the screen, and our trained model is saved as models, and this is the model name that we have trained. So after that, if you want to interact with the chatbot, then the command that we use is Rasa shell. So this will start our Rasa server on localhost port 5005, and we can interact with the chatbot there. So you can see here it is loading the model that we trained just now. If you don't specify any model, then it loads the latest model that is trained. Okay. Okay, so our Rasa server is up and running. We can interact with the bot here. Hi. How are you? I am fine. Great, carry on. Let me just stop this. Okay. So to interact with the bot, we use the Rasa shell command. There's one more command that we can use to interact with the bot, and this command is also used to create stories in many cases. If you are not sure how the conversation will flow will go, or if you want to verify if the chatbot will work properly, in that case scenarios, you use the Rasa interactive command. And this will help you interact with the bot and help the bot understand what steps to perform next. So we'll use the Rasa interactive command. Okay, so our bot is loaded now. We can say hello. So once we give our input, then the bot will ask us if it has recognized the intent correctly. So you can see your NLU model classified hello with intent greet, and there are no entities. Is this correct? Yes, it is correct. So we can say yes. If it is not correct, we can say no. Then the bot will ask us what is the correct intent. We can select it from there. Then the bot is saying the bot wants to run utter greet. You can say yes. So the bot will run utter greet. Okay, so the bot is running. Hey, how are you? Then the bot wants to run action listen. Is that correct? Yes. After that, we can say I am not feeling good. So in this case, let's see. Our NLU model has classified I am not feeling good with intent mood great, and there are no entities. Is this correct? In this case scenario, intent mood great is not correct because I said I'm not feeling good. So the bot is not classifying it properly. So what we'll do is we'll say, no, this is not correct. Then the bot will ask, what intent is it? So we can select the intent. So I'll say mood unhappy because this is mood unhappy. And it is asking whether there are any entities in it. There are no entities. So I'll just press enter. Okay, so now the bot is asking the whether it has to run the utter cheer up. I'll say yes. So it is running the utter cheer up. Here is something to cheer you up. So that is how you use the Rasa interactive command. And once you stop this bot, you can see you're getting an option of continue, undo last, then you have fork and you have start fresh and you have export and quit. So when you're stopping this server, you have to export and quit. And this will ask you whether you want to append the stories to the existing stories. Yes, yes, yes. So this will basically make changes to your stories file, NLU file, and the domain file according to the conversation flow that we had. So we can just go to our domain file. We just take this down. Sorry, domain stories file, and let's scroll down. You can see it has created a story for us, that is interactive story 1, and this is the story. And next time if we interact with the bot, and that time it will recognize it correctly because we have specified a story. here using the Rasa interactive command. Okay, so that is how you use the Rasa interactive command. So those were the basic commands that you need to interact with a Rasa chatbot and to train and build a Rasa bot. Now let's see how the bot works. Okay, so let's go to our domain file and let's say, let me run the Rasa bot here, Rasa shell, so that we'll understand it better. Okay, so let's try to understand how the bot works now. Suppose I say hello to the bot is responding with, hey, how are you? So what is happening in the background? Let's just go to our nlu.yaml file first, where we have provided the training data. So what did we give the input as? We said hello. So let's just scroll here and inside our training data in a nlu.yaml file, you can see here we have provided some training data, that is hello, and that hello is recognized as intent greet. You can see we have provided the training data. So whenever the user says hi, hello, hello there, good morning, or any of these examples, then the NLU will classify it as intent greet. Okay, so that is the task of the NLU, to understand what the user is saying. Now that the NLU has understood what the user has said and recognized the intent, that is great. Now it is the task of the Rasa core to perform the next operation. And the next operation that was performed was the bot said, hey, how are you? So the bot said the utterance, utter greet, hey, how are you? So this was the next operation that the bot performed, and the operation that the bot performed was depending on the choices that the Rasa core made. And the Rasa core made the choice to select this particular entrance utterance depending on the story that we have provided in our stories.yaml file. So whenever we say hello or hi there, it is considered as intent greet, classified as intent greet. So whenever intent greet is triggered, the next action that we need to perform is utter greet. So the Rasa core will perform the action utter greet, that is, hey, how are you? Then I'll say I am sad. So when I say I am sad, let's go to our NLU file and see. Here we have some training data for I am sad. Yeah, I am sad is here inside a mood unhappy. So the intent that was classified depending on the input was intent mood unhappy. NLU classified the intent as mood unhappy. Let's go back to our stories, and whenever the mood unhappy is class intent mood unhappy is triggered, then the next action that to be needs to be performed is utter cheer up. So the bot performs utter cheer up. So utter cheer up, here we have defined in a domain file utter cheer up, that is here is something to cheer you up image, and then it is asking did that help you, and that thing is also depending on our stories. Then Rasa core will perform the task, that is utter cheer up and utter did that help you. So this is how the Rasa bot works. Okay, so in this video, we have learned what is Rasa. We saw what is Rasa, and then we saw how to install Rasa and set up the environment as well. After that, we built a basic Rasa bot also. Then we had a quick walkthrough of the basic Rasa assistant through all the files like domain, NLU, stories.yaml, rules, etc. etc. Then we also saw most used command line interface commands that are used in Rasa, that are basically Rasa init to create the bot, Rasa train to train it, Rasa shell to interact with it, and we also have Rasa Interactive to interact with it. Yeah, so that's it for today's video. Thank you.